Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, he's Yinka Yusuf.
Hello, people.
And I'm Akin Adeke. Welcome back,
Bro.
Yinka. We are recording on a Sunday night.
Yes, we are.
The 19th of January. How was your past week? How are you doing?
Busy. Very, very busy. I told you this is my busy season at work. So it's beginning to ramp up gradually. It will get to a point.
Surprised.
Nobody will see my brake lights.
I'm surprised you're here, but I'm happy you're here.
Nah. So, it's all about commitment. So don't worry.
Okay. All right. I love it.
I'm here.
I love it. All right.
How's your end?
Same.
We're talking offline. You're talking about you have some inches of snow gathering up at that.
I was hoping. I don't like snow. I don't like any kind of precipitation. I hate rain, snow. I hate driving in rain or driving in snow. I just don't like it. I know why you need it, but I'm not a fan. So we had this area, like I told you, no longer knows how to deal with snow because thanks to climate change, we don't get snow anymore. So we had one. It's been almost 2 weeks now. It's still on the ground, believe it or not, because it's been so incredibly cold that it's not melting. When it melts, it refreezes again because the weather has been freezing. The temperatures have been freezing. So we thought there would be snow today. And then it got really warm yesterday. So I'm like, hey, maybe there will be no snow. Woke up, no snow. And now we just started. So I'm very unhappy about it. But we move. It is what it is.
We move.
It is what it is.
What it is. It is what it is.
We have a lot to get into, Yinka.
A lot to get into. So what do we have for us today?
What do we have? Our worthy mentions, we're going to talk about Gabriel Jesus. We're getting injured again. He just can't catch a break. We're going to talk about Erling Haaland getting a 9-year extension. So he's going to be at Man City for at least 10 more years. Pep Guardiola going through I wouldn't say pretty public divorce because he hasn't been pretty public, but the news has now hit. And some people are linking that to the fortunes of Man City, which I think is kind of crazy. So let's talk about that. And then we have a lot to talk about. Spurs, Arsenal, Barcelona, Man U, Syria, La Liga. Yinka, sometimes, so we're not, I told someone today that we're not soothsayers, right? You make the best quote unquote prediction with the information you have. But Yinka, you just did something quite remarkable. You don't even realize it yet. You predicted exactly what was going to happen to Man U. I did not disagree with you at the time, but I didn't think we would be vindicated, validated like within a week, and it just happened. It just happened. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that as well.
We'll get into it.
And then, of course,
which is
January.
Probably where I'm wearing. Wearing a Red Devil, a Man United jersey.
You're wearing it because you're a terrible person. Let's not get that twisted. That's not why you're wearing it. You're wearing it because you're a terrible person. And of course, it's January, so we must talk about transfer rumors, transfers, Absolutely. All of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
let's go.
We're not gonna rush, but we're gonna move quickly through the agenda. So let's talk about Gabriel Jesus first. An ACL tear or rupture. There was a time when that was a 2-year injury, and then thanks to advancements in medical science, it's now 9 months in some cases, 8 months in some cases, 12 months on the outside. And you can tell these days, once the swelling is down, they quickly do the surgery so you can get started on your rehab ASAP. Time is money. But I want to ask
Mm-hmm.
a larger question, Yinka. Is this the end of Jesus as a serious uh, top level player? What are your thoughts?
I So first things first, wishing
Mm,
speedy recovery. It's
absolutely.
quite unfortunate. He's been he's had multiple knee injuries, and I understand this is not even on the knee that he had the previous issues with. This is the
Correct.
supposedly healthy knee. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Correct.
given knowing that information, I look at it and I'm like, come on, man. This is exactly
Yeah.
what happened to close to what happened to Van Basten. That a lot of people almost decided to say, let me donate my kneecap and everything that is in my knee to you so that you can play.
Yeah.
I feel for the young man. He's just
Yeah.
getting back in form. 7 goals in 4 games or thereabout, and
Yeah.
an innocuous challenge. Next thing you've ruptured your ACL. It's tough, yeah. And to answer your question, Aki, unfortunately, I think I agree with you. This might be the end of him as a top level player. I think he's going back to Brazil after this, right?
Hmm.
Once his contract dies down or whatever the case is, it looks like it's going to be Saudi or Brazil. Yeah. Um, but you you can't command high salaries, yeah,
Hmm.
and spend the better part of your contract on the medical table. Every other team subsequently
Hmm.
will look you sideways. They will look you one way. No, so if you're if when you come on board when you're on the pitch, if you deliver constantly, people
Hmm.
will know
Yeah.
as long as if he's on the pitch, he delivers, they might still say,
Hmm.
you know what, we'll take a bet on you. So we've seen
Hmm.
Neymar get multiple good contracts in the past, despite his injuries. Neymar is not Gabriel Jesus is not Neymar. Yeah.
No, not
And
close.
see where Neymar is right now. Neymar eventually PSG, the injuries kind of tanked his career. PSG, Al Hilal, I understand is Al Hilal is in discussion with Santos, the club he started with, to take him
Yeah.
back on loan. All right, for the rest of the season or so, or for a short term
It's
loan.
not going to work.
So
It's not going to work in car. They're not registering him because they're saying his body can no longer do what he's being paid to do. If you can't do it in Saudi, how are you going to do it in Brazil? But please continue.
see, I get all that. But if Santos is willing to say, we'll pay Neymar, and see, this is the brightest thing that has come out of Santos in a long time. So it's not
Since
just on
Pele.
the
Yeah.
pitch. Yeah, it's not just on the pitch, it is also off the pitch. It is
Yeah.
branding, it is
Absolutely.
everything for them.
Absolutely.
So they don't mind.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure I don't think they mind. Yeah. So that deal might happen. But going back to Gabriel Jesus, to your question, unfortunately, I don't think he can maintain the high level. Maybe not the Arsenal level, not the City level, not the Liverpool
Mm.
level. Maybe someone lower can take a punt on him. But the question is, would he want to go there, or would he rather just go back home, right, to the comfort of the
Yeah.
Brazilian environment and stuff like that? But I feel for the man. Injuries have denied him the ability or the opportunity to check or to assess what is my max level of playing, what is my
Mm.
maximum potential. Yeah. I don't think nobody ever got the best of Gabriel Jesus. City never did,
Mm.
right? Because he was young. Arsenal is not right now because of injuries, which is quite unfortunate. Okay.
Okay. So I think his legacy, in my opinion, will
Mm,
be he came from nothing. Most Brazilian stars come from the favelas, which are the
yeah.
slums of Brazil. He
Slums.
came from
Yeah.
nothing. He made it, all the way, to the top of the Brazilian football pyramid, and then to City. Won titles with City,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the starting number 9 on some title-winning teams. Once Aguero, was tapering off, there was nobody else. It was him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
he played for Brazil, to
Yep.
be the number 9 for Brazil, even though he wasn't always the number 9. is a remarkable feat. Again, I'm trying to look at the positives here, but for me, his biggest legacy will be he was the catalyst for this latest um, Arsenal renaissance, in my opinion. I would not repeat the stories that
Yeah.
I've said many times already. People can call other names. For me, it was Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah.
Arteta was the same Arteta that for 3 seasons finished eighth, and fifth, or eighth, fifth, and fifth, whatever the hell it was. Arteta did not change as a manager. Okay. Arsenal changed because Gabriel Jesus came in. Okay. Yes, I'm being a little simplistic about it. Obviously, Saka had to go a little older. Same thing with Odegaard, same thing with Martinelli, Partey, all of that stuff. Yes, all of that happened. Goalkeepers got better, all of that. But for me, what really, really changed, the biggest change was going from a plodding, career dying Lacazette, who was 30 yards behind every play, to Gabriel Jesus, who was the protagonist, as they like to call it, on every offensive play, was what changed the course of this team's, the trajectory of this team's, performance. So for me, that would be his lasting legacy for me. I wish him well. I hope now, I actually feel like if it's the ACL, it's a very straightforward thing. You'll be successful. Your knee will be back. Reconstructed knees play soccer all the time. I'm not that worried about it. It's the other knee that I'm worried about, where he's had multiple things, where he's done all kinds of stuff to it. And I think he may need a different manager. The problem is Arteta tells him, go and score and then come back and defend. I think you need someone who says, stay in the box and just improve your finishing and be a finisher. Whether he can do that or not, I have no idea. So I think there's a place, there's a version of this story that ends with several more years at a decent sized club in Europe. It could go to Portugal. I don't think it needs to go back to Brazil yet, but it could really stay in the Premier League if he just has a coach that thinks differently about his skill set, not just run all the time. Those knees can't run anymore, Inka. All right.
So, quick one before we wrap this up, Akin.
Yeah, go for it.
He's 27 years old, which
He's
is
27. Yeah,
relatively still young in footballing terms. Yeah,
I would agree.
So I think I maybe I was being a bit too extreme initially, right? So listen to you now, I think I agree with you. He might still,
it's 27.
I think he should. I pray he will. But your point around Arteta, he needs a different coach, or maybe he just needs to reorientate himself also. Brazilians don't like sitting in the box and just scoring goals. How many Brazilian strikers do you know that
that's fair.
that they want to be involved in the play? They want to dribble. They want to do leg overs. They want to jump all over the place. Yeah. So you're right. You need somebody to tell him, dude, you're limited. Play like you are limited. Be a finisher. Walk in the box and improve your game that way. Anyway, good luck to him. We wish him speedy recovery.
Being Zaggy.
Being Zaggy, leaving offside position. Yeah.
All right. Yinka, Haaland's
Yes,
extension. 9-year extension. So should we just take this at face value and say, hey, they just want to lock him up or lock him down and it's all good? Or are these like more financial shenanigans, the like of which Chelsea was doing, not so long ago, signing people to 10-year contracts or whatever? What's your take on this?
Frankly, I'm confused at this point.
Okay, say more.
I am confused at this point, right? I've read quite a number of articles. When I first heard the news, I was like, over 500,000 pounds per week for 9 years. I'm like, okay, hold on. So someone now said the actual value of the contract is actually close to £1 million per week if you add every other thing that they're supposed to pay
image
him.
rights,
and I'm like,
all of that, yeah.
And I'm like, sorry, I don't know the details, but if this is the list amount that I saw was £500,000 or thereabout. Yeah. Akin, this doesn't help them from a financial gymnastic perspective at all. It does not help City. What helps, or what used to back then, is when you buy a player, remember, is the player acquisition that you can spread over a longer period of time. There is no box sum that they are spreading. You all sat down, you all looked at him and say, we're going to pay you £500,000 a week for the next 10 years. So I'm still trying to see what perspective or what angle am I missing? Because frankly, I don't see the pros here. So are you telling me that 3, 4, 5 years from now, you believe this £500,000 will be peanuts? And even if that is the
No.
case, don't you think Haaland will come back to the table and tell you, guys, sorry, your 500,000. I want to believe there will be something in the contract. There will be a clause that says there are windows for renegotiation, because it will be stupid
Yes.
of anybody to enter a 10-year contract at a stretch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know enough of this deal to really understand the objective of the people that have entered the deal, if you get what I mean. Yeah.
I
But
understand.
on face value, Akin, it looks somehow. Yeah. And
Okay.
someone said, before you go ahead, Akin, someone said
Okay.
that this contract makes it seem as if City already know that they will not be charged for the 115 whatever that is against them.
How so?
Yeah.
How so?
And I now told the guy, I said, I don't think so. It could actually also be the
I don't
reverse.
either.
It could
Yeah.
be we will be charged, but we know we will probably just be, maybe we'll be relegated for 1 or 2 seasons, but we want you, Haaland, to be with us either way. So we're going to pay you significantly so that you can stay with us even through the rough period. You can interpret it either way. So my conclusion on this, Akin, is very simple. We don't know enough to be able, right, to really, really say this is the reason behind the contract. This is the reason why Haaland is signed. This is the reason why City has offered him. It's just is like modeled in secrecy, and I need more to be able to reach a conclusion.
I think I have some thoughts. So,
Go ahead.
One, contracts in football don't mean anything. This is the one global game where contracts do not mean anything. What do I mean? In American sports, for example, right? When you quote unquote trade players, you're literally trading their contracts. You don't rip up the contract and sign a new one. You trade the player contracts, right? People say, oh, it's a trade. You don't buy and sell, you trade contracts, right? In football, you don't trade contracts. You buy and sell players, and then they sign a new contract with a new entity, right? So contracts in football don't mean anything, right? They get renegotiated all the time. In American sports, for example, that does not happen. In many cases, you can't even because of collective bargaining agreement. Players who want to give money back, sometimes they're unable to give money back because the union won't let them. So there are many, many, many nuances to this, right? But in general, contracts don't mean anything in football. People sign now and then in 6 months they're gone, right? So here is what I think. Just thinking back now, here's what I think. Number one, if they ever have to sell him, and this may be related to the 115 charges, if they ever have to sell him, you're more valuable the longer you have on your contract than not, right? So if you're trying to buy someone and they got 3 years on their contract, all other things being equal, they cost more than if they had 2 years because of their amortization, or 1 year. If you're a world-class player, one of the best strikers, in world football, and then you have 10 years to go, you're more valuable. That may be the only way that City will be able to bring in money when they're constrained in the new dispensation that we think is coming. We don't know yet, but we think it's coming, right? And then even if they get relegated, which neither of us is convinced that they'll get relegated, even if they did, and he doesn't go down with them, he goes on a loan, he's covered. Whoever is taking him we'll have to pay him X amount of dollars or X amount of pounds. So I think there's something in there for both sides. I protect my downside. You make sure you're never gonna make less than $500,000 a week, whatever. So I can see it. It makes sense.
Mm. Okay, so I agree with you on the bit of contracts in football not having that much importance,
Yeah,
but it's not really zero. To some extent, it means something. It tells you that right now, Haaland has the right to collect £500,000 from City for the next 10
at
years.
least. Yeah,
At
yeah.
least for the next 10 years. You and I know about a certain gentleman called Winston Bogard,
Oh
who
yeah,
signed a deal with Chelsea, and it was quite a substantial amount. And
yeah,
Chelsea wanted to ship him out at the end of the day to a non-entity, and the guy said, "Sorry, guys, I ain't going nowhere. You're not selling me, because if I
yeah,
go
yeah,
there, they're gonna pay me less. Yes, I'll play more, but they will pay me less. I am from the slums of Suriname, or wherever he's Dutch, but he's originally
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah, yeah. Suriname.
Clarence Seedorf is from. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
where,
yeah. It's
right?
Suriname.
So
It's
he
Suriname.
said,
Yeah,
it's Suriname. He said, "Sorry guys, I'm not up for this nonsense. I'm not going anywhere." Then Chelsea said, "If you're not going, you play with the under 21s." And he said, "I don't. If you guys want to pay me the amount per week to play with the under 21s, the joke is on you. It's not on me. I would gladly play with the under 21s." Winston Bogart saw out his contract,
yeah.
and he never played for Chelsea first team anymore, and he did not leave Chelsea. You guys can Google this. This is general information. Yeah. So to that part, I understand why you say it doesn't matter, because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
based on what you said. But City have made a commitment to Haaland. So whatever happens right now, they owe Haaland. City owes Haaland £500,000 per week.
But do you think that's too much for arguably the best striker in the world?
So that is
Yeah.
not market value, Akin, except
What is
for the
market value?
Saudis. Except for the Saudis, right?
Really?
The only people earning more than £500,000 in footballing terms is Messi and the folks in Saudi. Who is earning £500,000 in Europe apart from
But
what's his
but but
name? Maybe Mbappe is close to it. Who else is earning
but
that?
but but you can't hold on. How much is? Let's start with how much is Kane making? How much is Lewandowski making? Now,
Okay,
now adjust for the age, and you see 500 is not that much for
okay,
Holland.
well, hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah,
So the value of this contract is 500 by 10 years, right?
I know.
Kane and Lewandowski, after their current contract, right? Do you tell me they're gonna get 300 again from any European club, or the
No,
amount,
but
whatever
they're old
amount?
though. But they're
Eh, but,
really
but
old.
but that's my point. That is my
Yeah,
point. So the only comparison right now is Mbappe. I can check what Mbappe is earning. I don't think it's up to
it's at
five hundred
least that.
thousand.
It's at least that, Yinka. It was making
Okay,
more than that at PSG. It was making
okay,
more than that at PSG. Yeah.
okay. But Mbappe's contract is not a 10-year contract, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. No, 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 it's not. But so for me, I think from the club's point of view, right? If you're replacing this guy, you're replacing him. You have to pay a transfer fee to replace him, right? And you may need to replace him twice within that 10-year period, right? So that's why I think it makes sense. It just reminds me again of Patrick Mahomes, for example, in the NFL. He came, he took a quote unquote hometown discount, signed a 10-year deal, locked himself into 45 ish, 45 to 50 million dollars a year as a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. And then a couple years later, quarterbacks are making 60 per year. So if you look in terms of per year average, it's probably like number 7 or 8 on the
Mm-hmm.
table. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
he's arguably the best quarterback, right? So he had the most money, 500 million, but per year it was a huge discount because it's a 10-year deal. So I think that could be at play here too, Yinka.
Okay, so I just checked. Mbappe is earning
Mm-hmm.
earning in Madrid less than £300,000 per week.
Yeah, but he's really making more than that. If you
No,
add
no,
all
no, no,
the
no.
stuff
But that's the
that, yeah,
point.
okay,
Same thing with
yeah.
Haaland. He's earning more than
Mm-hmm.
500 if you add every other thing. So
How
500
much was
is
Mbappe making at PSG? How much
it
was he
was
making
it
at
was
PSG?
close to 400,000
Okay.
pounds, right? At PSG. So it dropped off to like 280-ish or 250,
Yeah.
between 250 and 280 at Real Madrid, right? But the value, I don't have a problem with the value that much. Is the length. It is the length. It's a commitment at the end of the day. You
I
could
would
have
agree.
signed the same 500,000 pounds for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
for 5 years.
Mm.
The norm, it still doesn't change anything. And frankly, let me tell you what will happen. Like I said, there will be clauses in there that would demand that things get renegotiated. So this 500, maybe 4 or 5 years from now, it's going to change again to something probably higher or lower. Now, here's my point, right? We've seen enough in football to see people peak early, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
See people peak early and they don't get better than they
Mm.
get. Imagine
Yeah.
if Arsenal, the way Jack Wilshere started at Arsenal, imagine if Arsenal
Mm-hmm.
signed him to a 10-year, £300,000 per week contract, saying this
Mm-hmm.
guy is on trajectory to be better than Iniesta. So what
Mm-hmm.
happened to Jack Wilshere? Right? So do you think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, a Jack Wilshere earning £300,000 per week in Arsenal will leave Arsenal for the next 10 years if his footballing output plummets? So it's the same risk that
Yeah.
City have here. You have put £500,000. You've committed to £500,000 a week for someone for 10 years. Even year
It's a
three,
lot of
year
money.
four, the guy peaks. You're stuck with him. He ain't going nowhere.
It's
Well, maybe that's
so
Haaland. Yinka Yusuf is not going anywhere. Yeah.
okay. So a couple of things. We should move on. So the way I look at
Yeah.
it is very simple. You're in rarefied air. When you're talking about
Fair enough.
Haaland, Mbappe, you're talking cream of the crop. All of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, you could have an injury, and then but is this game predicated on speed? It's still gonna be bigger than everyone. It's still gonna be a better finisher than most, and it's still gonna be predatory. So it's still. I mean, it's not gonna not be able to score. You know what I mean? It's still gonna be like 6'19" or whatever his height is. It's not gonna matter, right? So that's one. Uh, Two, you can insure these contracts. So if there's injuries, you're not on the hook for it. Someone else picks up the tab.
Of course, he's insured. I'll be
Yeah,
shocked if he's not in. But that the insurance too, they're smart. They would say it will be
yeah,
limited to a couple of things, not loss of
yeah,
form.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, no,
I hear you.
no, not
But
loss
but
of
but think about it. Messi and Ronaldo never lost
yeah,
form, never lost motivation. It gets to
yeah,
a point that you don't do what you do for money. It just
mm,
gets to that point. Some people always will do what they do for money, but
yeah, yeah,
it gets to a point where you're in legacy mode and you're doing it for legacy and you're not doing it
mm,
for money. You have to know who you're dealing with. You
yeah,
have to know not just the player but also the person, the human, the man.
mm,
And I don't remember the last time Ronaldo or Messi was playing for money. They've always had money, right? But right now, they play for legacy. It's
yeah,
why they don't get injured because it's they take such great care of their bodies. LeBron is the same way. The money is already there. They will be filthy rich forever. Now it's legacy. How do I want to be remembered, kind of thing.
yeah.
You know.
Anyway, good luck to him. Time will tell. We will know what the
Yeah,
real reason is behind all this pretty soon. But I'm happy for him. I love when people get their bread. I love it. I love it.
yeah. Hey,
So
good for him. Good for him.
good for him. Yeah.
Uh, Yinka, let's talk about this Pep thing real quick.
Yeah.
Don't want to over index, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I like these news stories saying, "Oh, Pep is distracted because he was going through a divorce." Blah
Yeah,
blah
it's,
blah blah
it's,
blah.
it's BS.
Wah 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 wah. So let me start. Let me start by saying they had 30 years together. I don't know if it was 30 years as a couple or 30 years married. Either
Mm-hmm.
way, 30 years is a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, yeah, it could have been longer, but it wasn't. Such is life, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't think any one thing is responsible for City's loss of form. I think it just happens. What's remarkable to me is it's never really happened before. That's
Mm,
what's remarkable,
yeah.
And now you saw them today against Ipswich. It was
Yeah.
like a training ground exercise. Six
Mm-hmm.
goals, could have been 15 if they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
The Foden, whose grave you've been dancing all season,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
now he scored twice. Where you at, Yinka? You can't dance on his grave anymore. So again, sometimes people just lose form. They may have left it too late. But honestly, I don't think they're out of the title, Yinka. They have
Mm,
38 points now. I still don't think they're out of the title. Everything would depend on Liverpool, no doubt.
mm, mm.
But I'm looking at Nottingham Forest. I'm looking at this Arsenal team. Am I ready to bet my money that they can hold City off if there was no Liverpool in the mix? I'm not betting on either of them. So, what's your general take on this Pep divorce situation as it's linked to how City have been playing?
So I totally agree with you. I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Mm,
Yeah. It's just I think it's coincidental. But you can't blame the people that are
mm.
trying to link it. Yeah. If you've not seen something like this before, then all this kind of
Yeah.
information are coming out. It's only fair that people will say, "Oh, maybe that's the reason. Oh, maybe that's the reason." I get all that, but frankly, I
Mm,
don't think it's the reason. Yeah. Now, going back to City and Liverpool, City are 12 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool have a game in hand. Yeah.
yeah.
Liverpool is the benchmark. I agree with you. It's not Arsenal, it's not Forest. Yeah. You think Arsenal is still in it. I think
Six
this is
points behind.
what I'm looking at. What I'm looking
Yeah.
at, yeah. Well, we'll talk about this in detail later on, so don't let me go too much into it.
No, go for it. Go
City,
for it. We can just segue into it. Go
just
for it. Yeah.
okay, fantastic. So City, a lot of people think City are out of the woods because of the fixture list that they've had. I'm just gonna go backwards, right? City's games. So today they played Ipswich. Ipswich is
Ipswich.
a
Yeah.
beatable side.
Mm-hmm.
Midweek they played Brentford. What was the score? It was 2-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
The weekend it was FA Cup. They played Salford City. They spanked Salford City 8-0. Right. That's a game you expect them to win, right? Okay. Week before they played West Ham. West Ham, you remember we talked about the game. West Ham played
yeah.
well. City were just scoring, right? City away to Leicester, right? So you're seeing they've had a favorable, very, very favorable run of fixtures.
Yeah.
Because before then, they drew at home to Everton. They lost to City. I mean, they lost away to Villa. They lost at home to United. They lost away to Juventus. They drew away to Crystal Palace. So you see, these are tougher games. So until I see City, right, in games that I believe, for example, the PSG game next on Wednesday, yeah, the Chelsea game on Saturday, let me now see how City fare in those games. If I see a better City, then I will agree with you that they are really out of the woods. Am I worried about them? I'm not worried about them. They'll be fine. They'll probably even end up
Mm,
second at this point. Don't get me wrong. Because I've said it right now, the person on top of the EPL table is the fittest team, not necessarily the
mm.
best team. The fittest team is on top of the table. Liverpool against Brentford, the people that came on, they were good enough to have started the game.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And those people that came on gave them that extra oomph, and that's how they beat Brentford. That's how they beat Brentford. It wasn't anything spectacular. Salah had a quiet game, but they could bring people off the bench. Every other team is being bombarded with injuries, right? And players that are just coming back from injuries that need to get into form, including City. Now, what's his name? Foden looks a better version of himself. You saw him. He's been playing fine. He's been playing fine. Confidence is coming. KDB had like 2 or 3 assists today. He's playing better. Kovacic was out for a while. He's back. He's playing better. Um, you see, everything kind of goes back to supporting City playing better collectively as a team. So City, I need to see what they do over the next 2 games. Away to PSG, at home to Chelsea. They probably will win. Then I will happily come to you and say, yep, the funk is over, City is back. But I agree with you to some extent. I test what they're delivering, the way Foden is playing, the way KDB is playing. Yeah. They're okay. But going back to your first question, I don't think this divorce has anything to do with City's issues so far. And guys, Pep will be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He still has football. He has his kids. I'm not joking. He has football. He has his kids, and he has money. But what are we talking about here?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my
I rest my
gosh. Okay.
case.
All right. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's get into our league review and preview. So the
Mm-hmm.
first topic we're gonna talk about is what happened to Tottenham over the last two matches. So they went to the Emirates.
Mm-hmm.
They scored first. Son was very sharp on that goal. They scored first, and then led into in quick succession to what should have been a rattled Arsenal. And then they just finished with a whimper. They really were not dangerous in that second half. They could have scored. They could have nicked it. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think they would have deserved it. But we'll leave that one aside. When they went to Tamworth in the FA Cup, yeah, they needed an own goal in the dying minutes to beat Tamworth. Now, for context, Tamworth play in the what Nationwide League is what they
Yeah,
call National
yeah,
League. They're
yeah.
in the
Conference.
fifth tier of football in England. Fifth, right? When you're looking down the pyramid, that's Premiership, Championship, League One, League Two. That's the end of the real pyramid,
Yeah,
and then you have to go to a different league completely,
yeah,
right? So, I mean, these are not quite bricklayers and plumbers, but they might as well be.
yeah,
And Tottenham, Tottenham were playing away. They needed an own goal in the dying minutes. So something is off. And then today, remind me again, who were they play? Everton.
Everton.
David Moyes coming back. First game back? First game back for Moyes?
Second game, I think.
Second game back for Moyes.
Yeah,
They lose to Everton.
yeah.
I saw, I was always a fan of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't think you were like a huge fan.
Nah, I wasn't.
Yeah, I know you're not a huge fan. For me, it's like an old school center forward. You don't see too many of them
Yeah.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good example of what Gabriel Jesus could be, right? He's
Mm.
at his knee, he's at so many procedures, his knees, whatever. He was a speed star, he was a finisher, right? There wasn't a lot in between. He didn't give you a
Yeah.
lot of hold up play, he didn't do much of that. But I'm
Mm.
like, he's someone who's worked on his fitness. It looked sharp enough today, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
if he can, he's bigger than Gabriel Jesus. He
Yeah.
has a couple more tools, but he's not a ball player. He's not a ball
Yeah.
playing center forward that like Jesus is. But anyway, I don't want to digress too much. But how do you, against the backdrop of those unfavorable results, how do you go into the Everton game and not bring your A game? So let me wrap that up by just asking, Ange Postecoglou, in or out?
Okay. So, I said earlier on that the fittest team, I mean, the team on top of the table is the fittest team. Let me
Mm-hmm.
reel out
You
the
did.
players that are injured for
Mm.
Spurs. So you have Vicario, their first choice goalkeeper. You have Romero and Van der Ven, their first choice centre back pairing. You have Timo Werner is injured. Bissouma injured. Solanke, their first choice striker, injured. Bentancur, their first choice midfielder, injured.
Suspended.
Foster is injured actually. He had a hand injury.
Okay. Is back?
He
Is
had
he
a-
back from his
yeah,
suspension?
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
he had a head injury against, was that Liverpool, the first cup of the first
Mm.
first leg of the Carabao Cup, right? You have Foster, the second choice goalkeeper, injured. You have
It's terrible.
Udogie, their first left back, injured. You have Johnson, their choice right, left, or one of the choice players up front injured, then you have Odegaard. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They have 11 players on the bench. I mean, on the injury table. Yeah. So that is the only reason why I would tell you, let's give Ange, a bit of benefit of doubt. Because right now they have an 18-year-old central defensive midfielder playing centre back for them. In what's his name? Archie Gray, I think. He scored an own goal today, unfortunately. I feel for the young man. But is he a good footballer? He is a good footballer. Should he be playing right now? Games, week in, week out of position? Hell no, he shouldn't. Yeah. So, based on that, I can say give Ange, let's give him some breathing room, right? But having said that, before this injury situation started, were you actually on the trajectory of getting better results or playing better? Hell no. Now, same thing. Since this injury has started, right? What's the plan to strengthen your squad or to fix things? Because this is 20th of January, more or less. You have less than 10 days in this window. What are you doing? Yeah. And also, I also believe they've not recruited properly because they spent some questionable amounts on some players that were not really. Do you understand? That in my opinion, I don't think these guys are ready. Right? They only have three centre backs. Spurs. Because it's Van der Ven. Maybe I don't know Spurs as well as every other person. It's Van der Ven, Dragusin, and Romero that they have. Van der Ven and and Romero are injured right now, so you're only playing Dragusin. Every team that I know in this league, they have at least 4 people that can play centre back. Every single team. Aki, which other team do you think of that has 3 or just 2 centre backs? No, it doesn't exist.
Arsenal,
So
go on.
no. But Arsenal have people that can play centre back now. What are you
But
saying?
they're not centre backs. But go on.
No. Okay, so Ben White, centre back. Tomiyasu, centre back. Timber, centre back. Calafiori, centre
Can't
back.
play
So you
centre
actually
back.
have 6 people that have played
Can't play
centre
centre
back
back.
before in their
I
lives.
know. Can't
And
play,
in
but they were
in
not
in all
recruited. They were not recruited to be
no,
centre backs. But go on,
no,
go on. I hear
no,
what you're saying. Go on,
no,
go on,
no. But anyway, we'll talk
go
about
on.
that later. So for
Okay,
me, these are the issues that I have with Spurs. Yeah. And
okay.
ultimately, Andy's style of play is off. You can't be this naive in this
Thank
league
you.
to be playing
That's
this way. Yeah. Okay, so fine. I have an 18-year-old playing center back. Then you change the way you play to shield the 18-year-old, to be more compact, to be less porous. Let's grind out the results. Don't just go gung ho and be playing like cowboys. Hell no, that's not acceptable. Yeah. So if you ask me, do I think he will be fired? If he's not fired before the end of the season, I don't think he will be Spurs coach by 1st of July next year. I mean, this year,
okay.
rather. In summer, I think he'll be gone. Over to you.
I think there's a possibility he's not the manager by the time this podcast is released. Um, in 24 hours, uh, and he would deserve it. So Ange's problem is Pep, right? And this is what I mean. Pep has to, again, the way Mourinho came in and forced Neanderthals like Ferguson and Wenger, who did not use, technology, who did not pay attention to detail, who just tell you to just go out there and just run. You know what I mean? Who was still coaching like it was 1997. Mourinho came and he was obsessive and he worked the referees and he worked everything. You know what I mean? And he paid attention to every little detail. He paid attention to squad building, not just, oh, that guy's available, go get him. No, he had specific people that he wanted in specific roles,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
he led with defense. He led with, rear guard action. Everybody's going to defend, starting with Drogba. and he exposed a lot of Neanderthals. And now Pep is doing that for some of these guys who just wanna just go. You can't have 10 number 10s on your team. You can't have that anymore. It's not 2001 anymore. You cannot do that anymore. He has to go. It has to go. This is really, really bad for football. I mean, everything looks antiquated. You look like you don't have a clue. You don't know what you're doing.
Mm.
Like Son is a really good footballer. He's absolutely undisciplined as a footballer. He doesn't
Yeah.
track back. He doesn't tackle anybody. He doesn't know his defensive assignments on set pieces. I'm like, how is this possible in 2025? You know, I find them absolutely disgusting to watch, and not just because they're Spurs. I just find it absolutely disgusting to watch. Like, they're not putting in work. Yinka, they're
Yeah.
not putting in work. And I mean, the goalkeeper situation is a disgrace. Foster should not have played more than 10 minutes. Once you saw this guy was terrible, you got to pull him. Get a kid from the academy. I don't care.
But
Goalkeeper
they got the kid from the academy. The kid from the
is
academy
better.
played against Arsenal, and
Yeah, it's better though. It's not
yeah, but
Foster.
yeah,
Foster would have let in more goals. But anyway, so we're spending way too much time on Spurs. I don't really care about them. But Ange has to go. He can go back to Celtic, go back to Australia. It hasn't worked. It's not working. You know what I mean? No, it's gotta go. To me.
yeah. Okay, so I agree, but I'm quite. It'll be interesting if he doesn't last till next weekend,
We'll
which
see.
is what you
We'll
which is
see.
what you said. It will be very very
Anything
interesting.
can happen.
Anything
Daniel
can
Levy
happen.
doesn't like spending money, so if he has to pay people off, he may just let him keep coaching. All right. So
Anyway,
Yinka,
yes, sir.
next question is: so we saw Martin Odegaard get injured on international duty, misses, I think it was August 31st to October 31st, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Arsenal struggle a little bit, right? But for the most part, they were still doing their thing, Now, Saka has been injured, and we don't know when it's going to come back.
Yep.
Minimum 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hamstring. It required surgery. First they
Mm-hmm.
said 4 to 6 weeks. Now they're saying 3 months, right? And it seems like Arsenal the attack has just pretty much been grounded, right? As in no lift off whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to do this, right? It sounds
Mm-hmm.
very hot takey, and that's not my speed.
Mm-hmm.
But Bukayo Saka or Martin Odegaard, who is more important to Arsenal?
Um, that's a tough one.
It is.
Um, but I would say it's Bukayo Saka,
Mm,
but it's not that the distance or the whatever is not that much. Yeah.
mm,
What I noticed that when Saka plays and Odegaard plays, that tag team, they both amplify their
yeah,
games, their respective games. Yeah. They both amplify their respective games. Because I've seen situations where Odegaard was out, Saka was playing, and the Arsenal attack too was a bit. It
yeah,
was dragging. It wasn't as fluid as it should be, right? And we've also seen now that Saka is off, Odegaard is playing, and is he just looks like a shadow of himself. I was
yeah.
joking with my son yesterday. I said he should go and cut off his beard. Maybe it's funny beard that's
Yeah.
his lack of form. But to your
Mm,
point, I think Saka is more important because Saka has gotten to the level where he is like the outlet, the
mm,
offensive outlet for Arsenal. And you and I have had this discussion multiple times. I've told you the way Arsenal play, it is either Martinelli, Saka, or what's his name, Trossard, or whoever
Trossard.
is playing left wing and right wing. They are the ones that can take Arsenal to the promised land. Yeah,
Mm,
because watch the way Arsenal play. Even when there's a counter attack, they hold on to the ball, then they repurpose the ball again. It ends up
mm,
with a 1v1 situation of either right wing or left wing. They end
Yeah.
up in that 1v1 situation. So it is now a situation where, see the goals that they scored yesterday, is Trossard getting the
Mm.
better of Cash 2 times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
2 times. So
Cash is a really good right back.
he is, but Trossard had
Yeah.
his number multiple times
Yeah.
yesterday. So it goes back to that is the only way Arsenal can play. They're not playing through the middle. Before it will be Saka and Martinelli doing some 1-2, then Odegaard rather. Then Odegaard finds
Mm.
the pass, Odegaard shoots, but that tandem is off. And also on the other
Yeah.
side, because you're trying to integrate Merino and integrate
Yeah.
what's his name and bring Rice to play the left eight as against playing six. We've not seen that a replica of that tag team that you have of
Yeah.
Odegaard and Saka on the other side of the pitch. Yeah, will this come with time? I don't know. I hope so. But to your question, Saka's individual brilliance at times just does the thing for Arsenal. Yeah. It doesn't depend on anybody. He will just magically create something, and yeah,
Yeah.
something happens for Arsenal. There is no other person in the Arsenal team right now that is doing that, right? Odegaard is not. Odegaard needs everybody around him to tick, also for him to tick. Saka can just be a bomb by himself.
Yeah.
It can detonate at any point in time. So, given that, I think Saka is more important to the Arsenal attack, right, than Martin Odegaard.
I hate this question, even though I put it on the agenda. So like we told our listeners, our viewers before, you
Yeah.
usually come up with the agenda and
Yep.
then we workshop it over a couple of days or whatever.
Yeah.
This one I came up with it, and I hate it, and I think that's why I put it on. And if you had put a gun to my head before the season started, as much as I love Bukayo Saka, I would have said Odegaard, right? I would have just, that's conventional wisdom because
Yeah.
I'm biased towards the number 10, or the number 10 like playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always liked Odegaard maybe a little more than I did,
Yep.
but he would have been my answer. It would have been my answer. My one enduring criticism of Arteta is just put someone close to Odegaard on the left eight. Like, stop this one side has to be defensive nonsense. You paid 105, and I'm coming back to the answer to the question. You paid 105 million for Rice. Play him in his natural position. He's a number 6. You may not like his style. It may not be as fleet-footed. It may not be as Zubimendi. Play him as a number 6. Do job number 1. The job number 1 is number 6 shield the defense. Do job number 1. I would have let ESR work out his fitness issues for that left eight. Have an offensive left eight. See how that works out. Live a little. You know what I mean? Just live a little. Look at what Odegaard is doing on the right. Duplicate it on the left. And now, even if you have to sell ESR for PNS purposes, you now have Nwaneri. You have him. Put him on the other side. And then you're saying the offense is stalling. The offense is stalling. The offense. I wonder why. Put offensive players there, but I don't want to over-index on this. Again, my answer at the beginning of the season would have been Odegaard. Today, I think it's Saka. We have to go with the empirical evidence.
Yeah.
I think it's Saka. Just seeing is not flashy, but the ability, Yinka, the ability to just be consistent all the time, to be direct. That's another thing. To be direct. And that directness, you call it being productive, I think, is what you've used in the past. Just being able to be productive is amazing. So I hate this question,
it is amazing.
even though I put it on the agenda. I hate it. But I think we have to go with the empirical evidence.
Yeah.
I think Saka is who we can't live without, and I hate the question because I love both of them. Okay.
And frankly, Akin, right? But if you ask me who's easier to replace, right?
It's Saka.
It's Saka.
Yeah. You can't replace either of them, but it's Saka. Yeah.
No. So right now, there are several duplicates of Bukayo Saka in
Yeah.
world football that are
Yeah.
left-legged right wingers. We can
Yeah.
there's Sane, there's Savinho, there's who else? There's this young boy in the Dutch league, Bakayoko. There's Luki Bakio that is in Sevilla. There are
Yeah.
multiple players that play like Bukayo Saka. There are very, very few players that play like Martin Odegaard.
Yeah. No, that's
Very few.
that's real.
Very few. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, we're gonna stay on the Arsenal theme, and we're gonna talk about Trossard going crazy on Porro. So just talk about that real quick so we can move on.
So, you guys watched the league game, the North London Derby. So see, I'm a stickler for when people get, like we say in basketball, you get your ankles broken. Yeah, what happened to Porro last during the week rather was worse than his ankles getting shattered. His soul, his soul was his soul was
It
taken
was
away from him because the guy that cry of turn from Trossard, the guy feigned injury automatically. He just said, "You know
yeah.
what? I'm injured. I can't.
I'm
This
not
is.
getting up to face
I'm.
this.
I'm not getting up to face this." I'm sure his teammates will be making jest of him in the dressing room to be like, "Dude, what happened to
Oh my
you?
god.
Eh? What happened to you?" You know that crowd turn was so brutal. The guy, if he had done more than he did, he probably would have snapped his spinal cord. That's the only. That's what would have happened. He would have snapped his spinal cord. Yeah. But I'll throw it back at you. So I love seeing those kind of humiliating
Yeah.
dribbles. So, is there any other one that comes to mind that you'd be like, I remember when XYZ did so
Yes.
to XYZ? So, let's hear
You should know where I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go to JJ Okocha. Yeah, I'm
it.
gonna go to JJ Okocha, and I mean we can list 49 different times he did it. But there was one that he did. I don't remember if it was against Arsenal, but I don't remember if it was home or away. And he was just talking about it recently and
Yeah.
said that he said uh, Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira came to him before the game and said they need him to do something to. Was it Ray Paulo? I think it was
No,
Ray Paulo.
was it Martin Kuhn or
Oh,
Ripa?
Martin Kuhn,
I think it was Martin
Martin Kuhn
Kuhn.
or Ray
I think
Paulo,
it was Martin
Martin
Kuhn. One
Kuhn,
of the two.
and he it was like, what do you mean, and that he gave Martin Kuhn the business, and Henri and Patrick Vieira were just laughing and clouded Martin Kuhn. This is, I mean, I'm sure we can find this online,
Yeah.
So for me, it will be, and then JJ Okocha against Gary Neville, JJ Okocha against everybody that was not on his team. Those for me, those would be the most enduring because he just made people look stupid. Like Ronaldinho didn't make people look as stupid, And JJ would tell you, JJ would swear till tomorrow that those things were necessary and essential to get past those people. I do not agree. I think I'm like, you didn't have to do grown men like that. You chose to do grown men
You
like that.
chose to do
You
grooming like that.
know. So what
Remember,
what what would be yours? What would be yours?
in the German league, he did Oliver
Oh yeah,
Kahn the
Oliver
same.
Kahn. Yeah,
He did Oliver Kahn the same. But you're right, JJ. A lot come to mind when we're talking about JJ. The other player that does this a lot is Kanu Ako. Kanu's
mm,
Kanu's goal against Deportivo La Coruna, that he sat down, was this Cameroonian goalkeeper without touching the ball.
um, which was it?
Was it Songo? Songo.
Songo. Yeah.
I think, was it Songo or Bell? One of the two of them. I keep mixing it up.
No, it was Songo. So it was
It was
Songo that
Songo.
was
It was Songo.
wait. I
Deportivo
think
La
it was
Coruña.
Songo. Yeah, it
Whoever.
was him. That's where Rufai was playing, right? Rufai was backing him up.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Songo.
He
Jacques
did
Songo.
not
Yeah.
touch the ball, right? And Songo sat down. That one comes to mind. Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored a goal while he was at
Oh.
Ajax. That he just
Ooh.
kept on dicing people. right? While he was a young kid at Ajax. That comes to mind. Then the
Yeah.
last one will be, was this Brazilian that was at Botafogo that was known as was
Oh,
it
I know. Oh, oof, oof, oof.
Enfonterib, that guy, I've forgotten his name.
Oh, did he end up going to France? Was it
I,
Jamel?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'll remember
Oh,
his name. I'll bring it. In
okay,
fact, it's now that it occurred to me, I will have searched for his name and I will have mentioned it.
okay.
Remember the guy dribbled everybody, got to the byline, stopped, backed the goalpost, rolled the ball up his Achilles, and backheeled the ball into the net. That's another one. Yeah. So when I see players do all these kind of things, and see, guys, if you watch Nigerian football, African football in general, see,
Mm.
once you are 3-0 or 4-0 ahead, the atmosphere changes. It becomes humiliation. It's no longer football anymore, right? The South Africans they are worse. They've made it worse these days. South Africa now do all sorts on the ball to intentionally humiliate the opponent. Yeah, kneeling on the ball, doing all dancing on the ball, and all those kind of stuff. Because it is in Nigeria that this once you start doing and you're knocking the ball around, the crowd will just start. You remember this now, right?
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course, of
So
course.
so this is what brings this is part of the joy, footballing joy for us, the people that really love being fleet footed and you know. I just thought it was interesting what Trossard did.
No, 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 no.
That's the
Absolutely.
dribble. That is the dribble of the season so far. He sat he sat him down completely and he feigned injury. Anyway, we can move on.
Uh, so Trossard is an enigma. Uh, Not particularly strong, not particularly quick, fast, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Uh, Capable of the brilliance, capable of disappearing, sometimes just in equal measure.
yeah,
So, I frankly, I think he is to Arsenal what Jota is to Liverpool. I think the problem is Arsenal is relying on him as a 90-minute a game player, and
yep,
I'm not sure that's what he is. I'm not sure that's what he is. I think he's a 30 minutes a
yep,
game player, but it is what it is.
yeah.
Yinka, let's do our European tour real quick.
Before we move on, the player I was trying
Yeah.
to remember was Edmondo.
Oh yes, yes, yes,
It
yes,
was
yes. I'm not.
Edmondo.
Was it Botafogo though?
It was
Edmondo, I
it
think.
was it was
Was it?
yeah.
Let me.
It was
Okay,
it was
let's move on.
Botafogo amongst a whole list of
Oh,
other
okay,
clubs.
that's probably what it was.
Primarily,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a Botafogo guy.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right. All right. The European tour. What do we want to highlight? Should we start? Should we start with Spain? Let's start with La Liga.
Let's start with La Liga. Let's start with
Okay.
La Liga. So a couple of interesting things happened in La Liga.
Mm-hmm.
We've been praising Atletico Madrid and saying they're doing well,
Yes, we
but
have. Yes, we have.
unfortunately, they were away to Leganes this weekend and they lost 1-0. And Barcelona, am I mixing up? Was it Barcelona that was away to Leganes? No, Barcelona was away to Getafe. Madrid was away to Leganes. Atletico Madrid was away to Leganes.
Atletico.
Um, Getafe, Barcelona was 1-1. Once again, I don't know what's happening to Barcelona. That's a game they should be winning. Surprisingly, they lost. I mean, they drew. Atletico, like I said, lost. Then Real Madrid earlier on today, they beat Las Palmas 4-1. Yeah.
Mm,
And in as much as they have, the imbalance in their squad, they still have enough individual firepower to make things happen, which is exactly what happened
mm.
today. So Madrid won 4-1. Mbappe scored a brace, I think. Was it a brace? I can't remember. Mbappe scored. But now Real Madrid are on top of the table. They have 46 points. Atletico is second with 44 points. Barcelona is 7 points off the pace. They're 7 points off Real Madrid with 39 points. In fact, they're on the same points with Atletico Bilbao. So as it stands,
Bilbao, yeah.
Aki, so maybe the question I'll throw back to you is Do you think Barcelona are just going to wither out at this point? Is this the whimper that we will see from them from now to the rest of the season? Do you think they can still mount a title challenge?
I do. So I think there's one more wrinkle coming in the La Liga season. I don't think this is it. Again, I just remind people we're just a little bit past the halfway mark, right?
Yep.
So I there's it's just a lot of games. You know, how many games have they played? Is it 21 or 22
They
right now?
played 20
Okay,
games.
20 games. So there's 18 left.
Mm.
That is, you got, if my math is right, that's 54 points
Yeah, your
yet
math
to
is right.
play for. That's 54 points yet to play for. You can't call a league season with 54 points to go. That's crazy.
Mm.
You know? And we're in January. We're in a transfer window. You don't know who's coming in. Today's January 19th.
Baka, anybody
No, no,
coming
no,
in the
no, no,
back?
no, no. Anywhere.
The people that were there before. Okay, I get your point. Yeah, you're
Anywhere.
saying
It doesn't matter.
okay, okay, okay. Fair
Anywhere. You
point.
don't know. Look, a player could come in and totally disrupt their opponent. It doesn't matter, Yinka.
Yeah,
And to me, they have the best manager in the land. They have the best manager in Spain.
yeah.
So, no, I'm not writing them off. Am I crazy? And they still have to play Real Madrid one more time, right? The last two times,
At least,
yeah, they do.
at least. Okay, in the
Yeah.
league.
Well,
Yeah.
why? In the league. In the league.
One more time.
The last two times they played them, they scored four plus goals in one
Yeah,
half.
4 and 5. Yeah.
In one half. So the first time was in the league, goalless at the half, 4 goals in the second half. The next one was an exhibition in Saudi Arabia. Went down 0-1, scored 4 goals in one half. You know what I mean? In the first half. So this tells me they're not going to be afraid of playing Real Madrid. For me, that's 3 points right there for the taking.
Mm.
And then the other 4, anything can happen. Real Madrid will drop points. And for some reason, Atletico don't have the confidence to do what they need to do. This should have been Atletico's season.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid they're not going to be able to do it. So what is most likely to happen is Real Madrid will just win it by default, which doesn't make sense to me because they're so unbalanced.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I think is most likely to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish
No,
your
but
thoughts.
do I think 7 points is too much when there's 54 to play for? I'm not crazy. Of course not.
Yeah.
We don't know who's going to win La Liga. We don't.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I also agree with the fact that Flick is the better manager
I think so too.
in the best in La Liga, frankly. And I think he's looking long termish, right? As against every other person, right? That are like, yeah, it has to be. Do you understand? Because I look at some of his lineup and the selection process for these weaker games, I think he's thinking too much about player development than winning. I might be wrong, but that's how it comes across to me as. And it might be in his best interest for him to abandon that player development mentality, or rather prioritize winning more than player development. Yeah. Right now you need more of 3 points. So you think those young players can still get you the 3 points, all well and good. Yeah. But remember, you will sleep in the bed that you lay yourself. That's all I'm going to tell him. Because
Yeah.
some of these games I don't understand. You can't. What does it profit a man or a team to beat Real Madrid 4-1, 5-1? Then the next game you turn around and you're drawing to a
Yeah.
Leganes or a Getafe. It's not proper.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
I think it kind of speaks to there are no great teams in La Liga. There may
Yeah.
not be any great club teams in world football right now,
Yeah.
right this second. And we're just going back to the days of yore when, champions lost many, many games. Again,
Yeah.
we've gotten used to someone just steamrolling the competition. That is the
Mm.
exception. That is not
Mm.
the rule. You
Mm.
know, what used to happen is everything was a battle. You fought and fought and fought. You got blown out. You blew people out. You
Yeah.
know, you lost. You lost close games. You won close
Hmm.
games. You
Yeah.
know, you know, and then every 4 or 5 years, someone comes from 6 points down with 5 games to go, and there's a drama. Pep just took the drama out of everything. Think about it this way. In the days of the Galacticos, you know, and then in the days of Mourinho, I think Mourinho only won what, 2 La Liga title? No, 1 La Liga title in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, they were not winning because of Pep, you know? And then Pep comes to the EPL, same thing. Pep started the steamrolling in the Bundesliga as well. So
Yeah.
Pep is the problem. Pep has spoiled people, you know, and now everyone thinks this is what a league campaign is supposed to look like. No, it's 38 games over 4 seasons, as in four, you know, climate seasons. You know,
Yeah.
you start in the summer, you go to the fall or autumn, you go to the winter, and you finish in the spring,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, almost into the summer again.
Yeah.
You know, that is a lot of different changes. This is what used to happen in car before Pep came into the picture. And then now everyone thinks this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be so good. You just steamroll people and you get 100 points and you hold the trophy. No, this is the
But
real world now, Yinka. We're back to
but
the real world.
but that has,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, and I think that is the reason behind that is, for example, in the EPL right now, the teams are the teams are good.
Yeah,
Let me say the teams are good. Let me say the gap between the top four and the bottom three is not that significant. So we skipped Man U, but let's just quickly talk about them
yeah.
here right now.
Go for it.
Remember, I
Go
said
for it.
it. I said it. I said United, when they set up defensively, they will play well. They can absorb
Yeah,
counter attack. The problem is when they now have to play teams that they need to beat. Southampton should have beat Man U on Wednesday.
yeah, yeah,
They should have. They had no business losing that match 3-1.
yeah.
No business whatsoever. And although the result flattered United, I told the people that care to listen, I said, this game, what's his name? Kamal Dean, or what's his name? The guy took Euro's hat and tied it up into a knot like this all through the game. He gave Euro.
You're is a good defender. He's young, but he's a good defender.
You know, when they ask
He's young.
players that was your coming into the league moment, that was his coming into the league moment. And that's a Kamaldin that we don't even know. Nobody knows him.
Yeah.
He was not really a star player. So imagine if it was a Euro against someone else. Yeah. But going back to my point. So when they played
Mm.
Brighton today, was another game that they expected to win. And see what happened. Brighton tore them apart. Brighton tore United apart. It wasn't even close. Will United
Mm.
get there? Yes, they will get there. It's just that they have this, they need to find that balance in being a defensive side and being an offensive side. Right now, they can only do one thing at once. They can only defend very well at once. If it's time for you to attack, they can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They can't strike that balance between we want to be on the offensive and at the same time maintain defensive discipline. They can't do it. They can only maintain defensive discipline right now.
So you can,
And they can't play every
we
game this way. They cannot.
no,
I can go ahead.
we've already done the what does United have to do like 2, 3 times we've done it. We've rebuilt their squad for them.
Yes, we have.
I may have changed my mind a little bit on 1 or 2 people, but not 5 or 10 people on the
Yeah.
squad. You
Yeah.
know, I added maybe 1 or 2 to
Mhm.
the list of those who can stay.
Yeah.
They need a full rebuild. The only thing we're sure of on Manchester United is the manager.
Is the manager.
He is fantastic.
I like it.
I'm sorry.
I
Like,
like
I
it.
don't care if he loses every match till the end of the season. I still want him. He's a great manager. He's a
Yeah.
thinker. He has, he has a point of view. His point of view makes sense. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he puts in the work, Yinka. He's not lazy.
Yeah.
So Ruben Amorim is a gem. You know, United, as the kids would say, they got them one.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got them.
United, I mean, and if United hadn't hired him, this guy would have replaced Pep. This guy would have replaced Pep, Yinka. He's really that good.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's perfect. He's young, so there's some things he hasn't seen, right? Some things you just can't hurry some things up.
Yeah.
Give this guy 3, 4, 5, 6 transfer windows. He would transform this team if you let him do his work.
Fair point.
If you let him do his work. All right.
Fair point. So,
are we done? Are we done with La Liga?
yeah, we're done with La Liga. We're done with La
Okay.
Liga. So, where do we go next? We do Bundesliga
All right.
next.
So no, let's do EPL since we started talking about it. Just real quick,
Yeah.
does Nottingham Forest have a shot at winning the league?
No. No, they
Okay,
don't.
tell me why you say no.
Because right now, what's going on with them is every good thing that can happen is happening. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the reason why. Okay. Will they end up in top four? I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not top four. Maybe they will settle down and end up in Europe. But the way
Okay.
I see the team right now, right, their first 11 is playing out of their skins right now. The first
Yeah.
11, yeah, and they don't really have anybody injured. To be fair, yeah,
That's
their
fair.
players are in
That's fair.
form, and if you see what they've done, they've taken the rejects of top teams and they formed a team around those rejects, right? Callum Hudson-Odoi was supposed to be the big boy in Chelsea, right? Elanga was supposed to be the big boy at United. But out of, these guys are not panning out, they decided to. So they took the rejected stones, right, out of all these clubs. Woods was at Newcastle, right? Morgan Gibbs White was at Wolves, yeah? And they've taken this squad and they've built something solid around them, yeah? But the reason why I say they can't make top four is these guys came to Emirates. They came to play football and they got spanked 3-0. So it's the same thing, right?
By
So
struggling Arsenal.
by struggling Arsenal. So if they go, yes, they beat Liverpool at home 1-0, but that game could have been 6-1 to Liverpool. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, they're a very good side and I love what they're doing, but where will they when the dust settles, where will they be? I think they'll be top 6. Most likely top 4. But I don't think they're gonna win. They have a shot at winning.
Okay. So my take on that is we're only talking about this because of Leicester in 2015, 2016. That is the only reason we're talking about this. So people think, but what happened with Leicester? City took themselves out of the game. I believe that was the last year before Pep came in, right? I believe so. Spurs messed up, right? They pretty much the last 5 games just, gave it away. Wenger was old, right? Because when Leicester won, Arsenal were the only team that beat Leicester home and away. 2-1 and 5-2.
Yes.
And finished 10 points behind Leicester.
Yeah.
And Leicester didn't, it wasn't like Leicester had 100 points. Leicester won with a normal number of points.
Normal, yeah.
They didn't get to 90. I think they were 80 something. I can't remember exactly. But maybe 80. Arsenal finished at 70 or something like that. We can check it. So that's not this season. Yeah. Because Liverpool is already on track for however many points. Arsenal is number 2. They're keeping pace. They're ahead of Forest right now. City are beginning their charge. Chelsea have had a little blip, but you people think they can win. So who am I to say they can't? And then, but my biggest reason why they can't, Nottingham Forest, is Wood. Is it Wood or Woods? They're number 9. That's the biggest reason. Yeah. Okay, because guess what? He's gonna revert to the mean. He's gonna become again who he's always been, a player who was not good enough for Burnley, who went to Newcastle, or who was Burnley level, went to Newcastle. They quickly figured him out. Yeah. And Taiwo Awoniyi is not a footballer. I don't care what anyone says. I don't want to hear anything from Nigerians.
Our Ilorin boy. He's not just.
He's not a footballer.
He went
he can score goals.
Anthony.
I don't care. Because when he came in to replace Woods the other day, do you know how many times he just kicked his own heels? I'm like, what are you doing? Do you know how many fast breaks he couldn't initiate because he couldn't control the ball? So as Woods is not very good, but when he's out, Awoniyi has to come in and replace him. When Awoniyi is not in a wrestling match with an overmatched center back, is not very useful.
Fair point.
That's the reality of it. So when he's not using his strength to bully you, when he has to play football, So for me, that's why they're not gonna win. But
Yeah.
we can
Good
move on.
point. Good point.
Is there any other thing you want to talk about in England? I have one thing in England. Do you have anything else in
Yeah,
England?
you go ahead.
Okay. Aaron Ramsdale has been relegated twice with Bournemouth and with was it Southampton?
No, it was Wolves. Was it Wolves? I think
No,
it
it
was
wasn't
Wolves.
Wolves. No, it was Bournemouth and somebody. It wasn't Wolves.
It
Aaron
was a
Ramsdale didn't play
it
for
was a
Wolves.
yellow. Are you sure?
No, he didn't play for Wolves. Aaron Ramsdale didn't play for Wolves.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, he's about to be relegated again. So at some point, you can't blame everybody else, right?
So
So
that was,
he's
I
with
think it was
Southampton.
Sheffield United. It was Sheffield.
Sheffield, yes, thank you. Sheffield.
Sheffield.
So Bournemouth, he was on loan with them. Sheffield United, I believe, it was a permanent. So if he gets relegated a third time, you can't possibly blame somebody else, can he? Why did he go there, Yinka?
Those are the only people that were in for him.
Ooh, what does that say about him?
It says he's where he should be. I mean,
That's terrible.
that's what it says. It says it should be. He is where he should be. That's what it is,
That's terrible.
right? And Akin, it's like it seems the Arsenal stint kind of masked a lot of things or a lot of issues with him that this Southampton experience has just significantly uncovered. Yeah. Because trust me, yes, he's having more shots at him, blah 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 blah. But there are some of the saves that he should make that he's not making. That you look at him sideways and be like, dude, could he be off form? Yes. Did the Arsenal move give him extra confidence? Yes. Is he a confidence goalkeeper? I believe he is. Yeah. But I mean, if where you find yourself, you were free for 25, 30 million pounds, and Southampton is the only club that came for you, I mean, says a lot. But still, yet, I think it's better than all the goalkeepers Chelsea have. I think it's
I
better than
wouldn't disagree.
I think it's
I
better
wouldn't
than
disagree.
Vicario. I think it's better than Vicario, right? But I don't know. I don't know why. I think if Southampton goes down, if he doesn't get a top 6, top 10 club, then there's something else that we are not considering that we're not aware of when it comes to Aaron Ramsdale. But yeah, I agree with you. You can't go down the third time.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. I don't think Southampton will escape this, but you can't go down the third time. You can't.
So I just thought I should bring that up. It's fascinating to me because he's not a bad goalkeeper. We can debate how good he is, but he's not a bad goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But the relegation 3 times, I'm like, make better career decisions, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Make better career decisions.
I
All
agree.
right.
I agree.
Anything else in England? I think that was it for
That,
England. Can we move
that's it.
on?
That's it for England. We can
Okay.
move on.
Is there anything in France that we care about? Where?
Nothing
Okay.
in France. PSG are still on top of the table.
Okay. And then we go. Let's do Germany.
Yes.
Leverkusen are rising up the table. You want to just give us a very very quick summary of where we are in
Yeah. So
Germany?
Leverkusen they played over the weekend. They beat Mönchengladbach. That was 3-1. Florian Wirtz is
The Shaka Derby.
yeah. Florian Wirtz is on fire. He's playing well.
Yeah.
Patrick Schick is playing well. So right now they are 4 points off Bayern Munich. Bayern they played Wolfsburg. They were leading. I mean, they won the game 3-2, but it was quite close at the end of the day. Wolfsburg scored late, and the last 10 minutes or so was just Wolfsburg trying to get something out of the game. So it was a close one for Bayern, but they scaled through. So Bayern won 3-2. So they're now on 45 points, 4 points ahead of Leverkusen. So it's gonna be a two-horse race there in Germany. Yeah. And I believe
Okay.
Bayern Leverkusen still have a game to play. If Leverkusen win that, right, it's anything can happen. Anything can
Yeah.
happen.
There will be pressure on Bayern, especially with a fresh year manager,
Yeah.
with the memories of last season. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, Leverkusen are now the incumbents. Yes, Bayern are the eternal champions, but
Hmm.
Leverkusen are now. So I believe Leverkusen would not. They will not play with the attitude of Dortmund, where if you breathe on them, they just give way.
Yeah.
So this would not be your typical Bundesliga tussle
Yeah.
where Bayern shouts at you, talks to you rough, and you just give them the right of way. So yeah, so I think this would be new for Bayern. First
Yeah.
time in 10 years. Because last year was not any real
Was
competition.
at
Uh
all. It wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't.
Okay.
So
Um.
move to Syria.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The
So let
most interesting league right now
I'm telling
is
you,
Syria.
Syria
Yeah.
is on fire, man.
Yeah.
So it was top of the table clash in this weekend. That was yesterday. Atlanta at home to Napoli, and Napoli got the win. Napoli won 3-2. Our guy scored. Lukman scored a very very good goal. McTominay scored the first goal for Napoli, and I
Not for
think
Napoli. Yeah.
I think Lukaku got the winner. It was a very good game. I saw the first third and the last third. I kind of had
Mm.
some other things to do, so I didn't watch the full game. Good game, good game. So right now Napoli are on top. Napoli are top on 50 points. Inter are second, but Inter have a game in hand. Inter on 47. Atlanta, they've dropped down a bit to 43, but you can't write them off yet. You can't
No.
write Atlanta
No.
off. And knowing Napoli, knowing Inter, they also have there's that susceptibility for them to drop points. So Syria is looking like a three-horse race right now. And also even the Juventus and Milans and Lazios of the world, even though they're not in the
Mm.
title contention, they are capable to throw spanners in any
Absolutely.
team's works right now. Yeah, they
Absolutely.
they do.
Um,
I mean, Juventus have been playing without a striker for a while, but I hear this guy is black now, Vlahovic, and Mota is trying. He's doing the best that he can, given the resources that he has.
mm.
Yeah, so that's what's going on in Syria. I'm very very interested in this title race. It's the apart from the EPL, I think this season the Syria is proving to be a very very interesting one. Yeah, proving to
Yeah.
be a very
So
very
I
interesting.
think I would consider Atalanta a team of destiny. Just
Mm,
the things they've done in the last couple seasons.
yeah.
Question for you is: does Lukman survive the January transfer window, or do Atalanta do what you were talking about with Kvaratskhelia and
Mm-hmm.
go, hey, it will never be hotter than he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let's do it.
Okay.
Let's send him somewhere else for money.
So I don't think so.
Okay. You don't think so? Which way?
I think he will survive this
Okay.
January transfer window.
Okay.
And Kvaratskhelia, yes. Napoli, I think it's Conte that said, you know what, let's just cash in on this guy.
Mm,
I think it's a Conte decision. Yeah.
mm.
Atlanta will need somebody to come and give them plenty money, and they will need a lot of convincing for them to let Lookman go. If you get what I
What
mean.
about in the summer?
I see. Summer, summer is open for anything can happen in the summer. Anything can happen in the summer, and something tells me he might be coming back to the EPL. I don't have insider
Mm,
knowledge. I don't, right? But I think he might be coming back to the EPL. I think he might be coming
yeah.
back to it. But
I,
kudos
I
to
thought I
Syria.
thought
Syria is on fire this season.
yeah, I thought his speech when he won the African Player of the Year award was interesting because he
Mm,
talked about how did he put it, the when he had his worst night or something like that.
yeah.
I don't know exactly what he was talking about. Was he talking about a particular game?
No, it was talk. There was a time where he did a Panenka in a match.
Yeah, okay. But was that
Yeah.
was that was that in the EPL? I
No,
remember that match, but I don't remember.
I I think it was while
Was
it
it a cup
was.
or was it a cup game? I'm not
I
sure. But
think
it
it
was
was
in
while it was.
England. It
It
was
was
in
in
England.
England. I think it was at
It was in
Fulham.
England.
It was a Fulham game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I remember guys were like
Mm,
consoling him or whatever. So did
hmm
a Panenka, didn't work out. And it's interesting that he remembered that and not just all his successes. It's just
Yeah.
I thought I was really interested. So
Hmm.
when you say he might go back, that would make sense. That
Yeah.
hey, he might feel like he has unfinished business.
I think he does too.
Um, yeah, okay, that's
Anyway,
interesting.
interesting.
But Inka, we're gonna do a quick segue to the transfer window. But since we're already in Italy, let's start
Hmm.
with Italy.
Yeah.
Kvaratskhelia to PSG. Is it more than just a rumor now? Is it happening? Happening?
It's done. It's
Anyone
done.
confirmed anything? It's done now. Okay.
It's done. He's gone. He's gone to PSG.
How
The
much did
part-
they end up spending?
I think it was 85 or so.
How does PSG keep doing this?
Well, they I don't know what the rules are specifically. I think they are just under the general UEFA fair play rules, not the P&L's rules
Okay.
that we have in England. So maybe they have more wiggle room than the rest of Europe. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I know France
Okay.
also have their own thing, and it's all about how you can structure all these revenues that come to make it look like they're footballing revenues. Anyway,
But
so
Yinka, they paid crazy money with Neymar, Messi. I mean, there's no way they were generating that money in France. No one spends money on football in France.
yeah, yeah. No, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way. And this goes back to their ties with Qatar and the rest of it. It's going
Yeah,
back
of
to
course.
sponsorship deals, going back to all sorts. Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, getting Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi off your books, right, created a massive, very, very massive hole, right, that needed to be filled one way or the other. So as Kvaratskhelia is coming in, Kolomwani is heading out to Juventus, yeah, on loan, right? So Kvaratskelia's salary is just being replaced by Kolomwani's. I mean, Kolomwani's salary is just being replaced by Kvaratskelia's own,
Yeah.
and it's only the transfer fee that will be amortized over a lengthy period of time. So that's a confirmed deal. Dele Ali confirmed to join Fabregas at Como.
Yeah, I
That
saw
was
that. I saw
that
that.
was that was that was earlier
I'm
earlier
happy
earlier
for
on
him.
today.
I
I'm
I
happy
hope
for
he
him.
heals. Yeah.
I'm very, very happy for him. Um, what's his name? Anthony, Man United. I think he's going to Betis on loan.
It's
That's
so bad. Inka, he's so bad. Did you see the miss? Did you see
so.
the
It
miss,
wasn't
Inka?
a miss. He just changed jerseys. He became a defender. That's what happened.
Oh my God. He's so bad. 89 million pounds.
So this is where I keep saying that the press in England need to do a better job in being fair to Arsenal. Pepe at 70 million pounds or 75 or whatever it
72.
was,
72.
right?
72.
Has 50
Mhm.
goals and assist contribution in Arsenal, right? Anthony, what does he have? Probably 10, 15 goals and assists.
If
Didn't
he's
they come
lucky.
the same? Wasn't it the same season that they came to Arsenal, or
Oh
maybe
no, no,
Anthony
no,
came?
no, no.
Anthony came
Pepe was like like 2, 3 years
two,
before
3 years
Anthony.
before Arsenal,
And
before
yeah, yeah.
before Anthony. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
also look at players like look at Grealish. Who is
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
anything about Grealish being a flop? Who is saying anything about the 300 million pound signing that Chelsea had? Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. No, but you know how it is. But you know
Uh,
why all these things are like that. Come on
well,
now.
we
You,
do,
you
we
know,
do,
you
we
know
do,
why.
we do. Any other rumors that are important? There are a lot of things going
Yes.
on. A lot of
Yes.
noise
No, no.
going on.
Osimhen to Arsenal is a new one that's been gathering steam over the last 2 days, a day and a half. I'm not a fan of the man, but it's better than what Arsenal have now. So
I don't
you
think it's.
know,
Go- I don't
more
think it's
power
gonna.
to all of them.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen.
You
Let me
think he'll
tell.
go to Chelsea?
Osimhen ain't going nowhere until summer.
Wow,
That's
wow.
fine. He's on loan right now
Wow.
to Galatasaray. See how complicated that is?
Yeah. So why is it so
So
complicated?
he's
You
gonna he's
call
gonna
him
ca-
back and then you
he's
sell him.
gonna kind of no. So
But you don't know the terms of the loan.
when you entered, see that's the point. Yeah,
Uh huh.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's complicated. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. So which
Mm-hmm.
is why I think he will see. And Galatasaray. No, I was with a Galatasaray fan. One of my friends is Turkish.
Mm.
During the week, I didn't even know he was a Galatasaray fan. So he was saying, "Oh, that he eventually saw a game. He wanted to see Osimhen at least before he came. I mean, he came back to Nigeria and he won't be able to because he knows Osimhen is going to be there for just one season. They
Mm.
know, even Gala know that it's just going to be there for a season. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
I don't not see it, Yinka.
So let me tell you why I actually
I
don't see it.
okay,
Napoli
tell me.
just cashed in on Kvaratskhelia. They are not really in need for
Uh-huh.
the money. So anybody that wants
But
Osimhen right now, hear me out. Anybody that wants him right now, they'll just say, you know what? Nah, bring your prime money. That's what they will ask
uh-huh.
for. And when they ask for premium money,
Uh-huh.
being the fact that it's January, a lot of teams will be like, you know what? We might not have enough cash to make this happen. So that's my take. I might be wrong, but I think Osimhen is staying. Going back to Arsenal, I think they're going to end up with a Cunha, a Brian Mbeumo, right, or a loan from Europe. Yeah, a loan from Europe, or maybe a Delap for 25-30 million. That's what's going to happen. I don't. Unless they are able to bring forward the big acquisitions that they want to do in the summer, which is Osimhen, for example, or a Shesko or a Gyökeres. But I don't see that happening. I think they're going to go for it's going to be an external loan from Europe, or they put money down for someone within. I think it's going to be Cunha at the end of the day. That I just have a funny feeling Cunha is coming.
so Yinka, I don't understand the bring forward part of this. You have a title to win. Liverpool are there for the taking. I don't think Liverpool can really improve their team. I don't
That's why
see
they're not
it.
buying anybody. They are complete.
Yeah, I don't think so. They, this is probably their ceiling,
Yeah,
and
it
you're
is.
within touching distance, and everything has gone wrong for you. The only thing
Yeah.
that's gone right for Arsenal this season
Mhm.
was that first goal the other day. Okay, that was really a goal kick, but they gave them a corner kick, and Arsenal
Yep.
scored for
And
it.
that's not
That's
scored
the
off it.
first real decision that has gone for Arsenal. Also, no, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, right,
So,
actually.
what are we talking about? Bring forward. Just do the damn deal.
But
What?
why do you keep saying this? You keep talking as if it's the ball is in their court and they're the ones that will make it happen. They
It
had
is
they
in
had
their
a
court.
deal for Shesko. Shesko chose to stay and he said, I want to stay back
Yeah.
and
So
develop.
go back. Go
Go
back.
back and do what?
Because
So if
go
Chesko says
back
I
to
still
him
want
and
to stay,
convince him. Well, yeah, but at least approach him.
so
That's what I'm saying. So
do you
these all like,
do you
okay,
really think they've not gone back to approach him? Come on, guys. Come on now, Aki.
knowing Arsenal, I'm not sure,
Come on now,
to be
Aki.
honest.
Aki, let me tell
Bruh.
you one thing. Let me tell you one thing.
Okay.
Every single agent of a top striker in Europe today would have spoken to us now.
Okay. And so get one of them.
It's because the agent and what the agent is trying to do is to just sense check. My guy might be willing to come if you're willing to pay him XYZ amount of money. That is the
So pay
job
him
of the
XYZ.
agent. But when you then skip that level and you then go to the club and the club then says, pay me £200 million for the guy, are you now going to cough up the £200 million? This is where the problem is. Are you desperate enough? Are you Is the
They
board
have to
willing
be.
to be reckless enough? Are you willing to gamble to that extent? These are the questions. So it's not a shocking
So,
cat situation. It's not.
Yinka, for me, it's very simple, right?
Mm.
If you asked Arsenal fans at the beginning of each of the last two seasons what Arsenal needs the most,
Mm-hmm.
it will be almost 50-50 between maybe 2 seasons ago, they wouldn't have said a striker because there was Jesus. By the beginning of last season, Jesus was injured. They would have said a striker.
Yeah.
But the second would have been backup to Bukayo Saka. For the last 3 seasons, it's been the same thing. No one would have said another goalkeeper. No one would have said another defender. No one would have said the 89th left back. They would have said either a combination of a top striker or Bukayo Saka's. Because, again, the striker was also the auxiliary right winger.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And he was always injured.
Yeah.
So none of this is new or news to Arsenal. So go do, if Mbuemo is your Saka backup, go get him. If Mbuemo is we need a goal, we need another forward that can score goals, go get him. If it's, I don't think Delap can really play at Arsenal.
Actually, right now, I would, if money is your problem and you are worried, I will go to Ipswich today, put 30 million on the table, and get rid of the lap of them.
It will cost 50.
There is no. Okay, you think it will cost 50, but I don't think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if they say it's 50, then sorry, I might walk away.
Mbuemo will cost 40.
Even at that, Rory Delap being English at that age, blah 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 blah, it's going to pan out for you in the future. Either way you dice it. Either way you dice it. That's me, right? But if Roddy Delap and Mbuemo are going for that amount, you see why it is in everybody's best interest to go international. People that have release clauses, that all you need to do is just trigger the release clause, right? So the issue will now be, since the guy knows he has a release clause and he knows you are desperate, the agents will play funny. The agents will be like, then pay me XYZ amount of money. That's what the problem is. Nico Williams that everybody's shouting for. If you look at the stats for Nico Williams this season, nobody should be nearing him. So we're looking, and my question then is Nico Williams really an upgrade on Martinelli? My answer to that question is most likely yes. Yeah. Because he's playing in Bilbao, he's not playing in Arsenal. You need to factor that. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not a guaranteed, So for me, I've said it, I think Cunha is the one that is going to happen at the end of the day.
I like Cunha a lot, actually. Because I don't think Cunha is a downgrade. I like him a lot.
Precisely my point. Because Wolves have backup already. They have Lansing guy. They can always buy. So I think Cunha is the one coming. And Cunha can play across the front line. That's another positive. And Cunha, I think Cunha is fine. I might be, but since I'm
not Cunha is fine.
Cunha is fine.
So, Yinka, so for me, right? I actually, and we should wrap, but for me, I think my strategy is very different than other people's.
Yeah.
I don't care about names at all, right? So let me tell you who I would go for. Okay, John Durant at Villa. Hold on. I'm not saying they're selling or not, right? Because look, it's obvious Arsenal don't like who is the top striker at Villa. Why is the name escaping me right now? Watkins. It's obvious they don't like him, and he's 28. There's no resale value, even though that didn't stop them with Mourinho, right? But you're not gonna pay 100 million for a 28-year-old, whatever. John Durant. What is it? Pedro at Brighton. Is it Juan Pedro? What's his name?
João Pedro.
João Pedro, because it's Portuguese. João Pedro, 1, 2, and Cunha. Get 2 of those 3, because Arsenal doesn't need 1; they need 2.
Yeah.
All of them can play across the front. Now, we haven't seen Durant play too many minutes, but we've seen him play on the left. We've seen him play on the right. He usually plays through the middle. But it's a project. Yeah. But you know what? Is he a bigger project at number 9 than Havertz at number 9? No, he's not. He's actually scored goals.
Yeah. But get 2 of those 3. I think Cunha is the safer bet, frankly.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Safest bet. I think Cunha is the safest bet. And if I were Arsenal, I would actually go for Cunha. I'm sorry.
João Pedro is a problem. The kid has everything, Yinka. He has everything. Is okay.
Anyway,
Yinka, do you have a donkey of the week or not?
I was going to say United fans, but let's
What did they
leave
do?
them.
No, tell us real quick. What did they do? What did
Because
they
they
do?
didn't believe me when I said what I said last week. What I've been saying all along. What I've been saying all along. It is only
Oh,
when
that's
United
terrible.
win that you see all of them creep out of their like
Oh, that's
they creep
terrible. That's terrible.
out of their hiding like roaches, and they will start shouting
Oh,
GGMU, glory, glory United, right? And the
oh
people that
my
I'm talking
gosh.
about,
Oh
they
my
know
gosh.
themselves, right?
Oh, that's terrible.
The only objective person, the only objective United fan is our friend that is on our group, Sir Linko. I think he's the only
Yeah,
and maybe we should add Mr. Mansa Musa to it. Maybe those two. Every other United fan
yeah.
that I know, they right now there's silence everywhere. Silence. If they had won, when Ahmad scored the hat trick during the week, Akin, you would have thought somebody won a jackpot. Everybody,
I mean,
GGMU, GGMU,
it
GGMU.
was fantastic. It was a
I
great
love the
hat
young man.
trick.
I love the
The
young man.
kid is amazing. The kid is
So,
amazing.
Aki, I'm not gonna name them donkey of the week, right? But please, guys, don't
Donkey-ish?
don't
Ponies?
do
Ponies of the
yeah,
week?
donkeyish behaviors. Don't do that. Don't do that again, please.
Oh my goodness.
All
All
right,
right, Yinka, let's wrap. We try
yeah,
to do 90 minutes. We've gone over, so let's
we've
wrap
gone
this.
over.
All right, go for it. Go for it.
So once again, guys, thank you very much. It's been fun. Uptick in our numbers again, quite impressive. We thank you very much for the support. But like I usually say, I know now I'm sounding like a broken record. We are Oliver Twist, and we want more. We want more. So please tell your friends about us. Like, share, subscribe across all our platforms, and we will see you all next week.
All right. Thank you, Yinka. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week, and goodbye.